You know what the weirdest part about getting older is? It's how nostalgia just begins to make sense. Like, trust me, it's a weird moment watching a video of old 2000s commercials and the concept of nostalgia just finally clicks at 2 in the morning as you're watching a kid get violently transformed into a turtle for daring to disrespect the pouch. And as the resident gamer, it has been really weird starting to get nostalgic for games. It's also sad because now whenever I start getting nostalgic for a game, my first gut reaction is to go like, why am I getting nostalgic for this game? This game's not even that old. This game came out in... And then you realize that Pokemon Black and White came out over 10 years ago. Oh, what? Spoilers, huh? What? And because it's been on my mind for the past, weeks now, I figured I would go ahead and shout out the list of games that I have been recently getting nostalgic for onto the infinite void known as https://www.youtube.com. Now, I don't think I need to say this, but for my sake and my sake alone, I just want to clarify something. Not every game I get nostalgic for is a favorite game of mine, and vice versa. Not every one of my favorite games is a game I get nostalgic for. You got some games which are just a bit too recent for me to go ahead and say I have any deep-rooted emotional connection to. Other games that I get extremely nostalgic for, honestly, not that good. Have you seen some of these games, guys? Not that good. The way I picked out this list of games I'm going to talk about is pretty simple overall. I either just picked games I have the most memories of, or I went to my game collection, looked through every single game they had there, and then if I saw a game and it gave me a warm feeling in my pants, I decided to grab it and I will be talking about it. Only problem with that method though is there are some games that seem to have made their way through the cracks despite me not feeling that nostalgic for. I mean, it did give me a warm feeling in my pants. But anyways, let's just go ahead and get the show started. To start off a list of the games I'm most nostalgic for, I feel like I have to at least talk about this game because, honestly, it was quite fundamental to me as a kid. And I assume it was for a lot of other kids, which is SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom on GameCube. For the unenlightened, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom is a 3D platformer set in the world of SpongeBob. Shockingly. Now, if you've never grown up playing it, if you were to play this game today, you'd probably think that this game's fine, but it is quite a janky game. Fucking hell, this is quite a janky game. But if you did grow up playing this, I'm pretty certain you can share the sentiment I'm about to say, but this is probably the best platformer game out there. I don't know what it is. There's just something so comfy about this game in particular, and I don't really know what to call it. Oh wait, I remember. Nostalgia. I mean, considering how much I did play this game as a kid, though, I would be very shocked if this game didn't in any way, shape, or form tickle a nostalgia bone in me. And let me just tell you something. I am not kidding when I say I have been playing this game forever. Only exaggerating. I mean, from memory, this is the first video game I've ever played, and considering I've been playing this game relatively consistently from then until today, I have played this game fully 20 plus times, and the amount of times I've partially played this game... How many grains of sand are in the sea again? And in case you wanted to know how many GameCube memory cards I ended up filling up just from this game alone... How many grains of sand are in the sea again? Now, my playtime with this game is one thing. The real question, though, is... do I have any personal experience with this game in particular? No shit I do. Out of every memory that this game triggers, honestly speaking, the one that I always tend to default to is, it was one day when I was, 8 or 9, and it was a snow day. Not just a snow day, a 2 for snow day, a snow day, and then the next day, a snow day. And man, I was excited, my parents were fucking dead, and I played the fucking shit out of this game with my brother. I swear, like, the moment that they announced it was a snow day till the day I basically had to go back to school, this game was plugged in, ready to go. That was a happy little memory. Before I move on, however, I do at least want to mention one part of this game that I feel like I've grown to have a really deep appreciation for as I've started reflecting on the game more. The soundtrack. I don't know what the composers were on when they were making the soundtrack to this game, or if the 2,000 plus hour playtime I've had of this game has finally gotten to me, but I swear, they have made it so that every single track that they used in this game right here is one you will remember and tie to a very specific element of the game. Like, give me any level theme from this game, and I can tell you with 95% accuracy what level that theme comes from. Like, I can tell you that this is Jellyfish Fields, this is Downtown Bikini Bottom, this is the Kelp Forest, the Mermal Lair, Robo Patrick. The list just goes on. Oh, and quick side note, Jellyfish Fields, it's the best first level in any video game. Yeah, that's it. Now don't get it mistaken, I didn't play exclusively GameCube as a game. After a while, my parents decided to take me and my siblings out of the Stone Ages and decided to buy us a Wii. Now, I could talk about the Wii here. Honestly speaking, I really just want to talk about that in its own separate video, just because there's just so much I want to talk about with that. So I feel like I want to summarize what my Wii experience was overall. Two things: Epic Mickey and Cheeto Dust. You want to piece together what my experience was with the Wii? Well, have at it. Now, while I did play a lot of consoles as a kid, where I ended up spending most of my time gaming were on handhelds. These beautiful, beautiful looking things. Now, if you're somebody who's not an oldest child, you can probably share this sentiment, especially if you're youngest. But growing up, the consoles were for your older sibling. For the most part, your brother got first dibs, or your sister, whatever your older sibling was. They got the dibs on the consoles, and if you wanted to have your own gaming experience, well, you just had to go ahead and whine and cry to your parents and hope to God they would get you a handheld system. And as a stubborn, hyperactive, and persistent child, well, that's exactly what I did. Before I ever got my first actual system that was my own, not just the family Wii that was actually just my brother's. Yeah, I know what you did, Drake. It's okay, though. I would have done the exact same. Before I ever got my first real personal console, the Xbox, I've owned a Game Boy SP, DS Lite, 3DS, and new Nintendo 3DS. And dear fucking lord, the amount of games that I've played on those. Whew, baby. I played so many different types of games on those systems, considering that it was from literal child me to teenage me. So I got to experience a lot of games. A lot of the, like some games, Phineas and Ferb. Then you get to the older games, the games for the more mature audiences, like Professor Layton. I played so many different games and so many different series just on the handheld alone. And the one series that I think sticks out to me the most right now is the Kirby series. Now, as is obvious, hopefully, I'm a really big Kirby fan. And knowing that I'm a really big Kirby fan, I want you to guess, what Kirby game would I personally say is the game I am the most nostalgic for? Got an answer? Well, you're probably statistically wrong. Mostly because, it's Kirby Mass Attack. Is this a weird choice? I don't know, honestly. Kirby Mass Attack, in the grand scheme of the Kirby cinematic universe, is really fucking weird. Alright, you know what? Here's the first example I'm going to give for how it's weird. Alright, I'm going to play some Kirby level 1 themes, right, from across all different games. Let's say, for instance, this theme. Alright, here's another level 1 theme. Here's another level 1 theme from a Kirby game. Alright. Here's the level 1 theme for Kirby Mass Attack. It's so distinct of a theme compared to literally every other level 1 theme from any Kirby game. And the weird thing is, that's not an exception for this game. Every single theme they used in this game is so incredibly distinct and different from every other Kirby game. Literally, all the themes are so good. Psst. Hey, this is me. I also want to acknowledge something. It turns out the composer for Kirby Mass Attack is this guy. And you may know him because he did the music for this game. Yeah, I see it. Talking about the game itself, though, yeah, the game is really weird. Like, shockingly weird. You know what? Let's go over a list. Here's the list of how this game is so weird compared to every other Kirby game, besides maybe some of the games that came after it. Alright, let's see. Can't Inhale. Alright. There's a cloning gimmick. You use the DS's stylus thing in order to actually navigate the game. What else? Let's see here. You also use the DS as stylus to attack. All right, that's makes sense, I guess. These level designs are some of the best Kirby level designs I can think of. I am probably wrong with that statement, but you know what? I don't care. This is the game I'm nostalgic for, alright? These are still some of the most unique enemies I think I've seen in any Kirby game. Also, just a quick side note, yeah, these turnip things, yeah, these ones specifically, I hate them. For some reason, I don't know what it is, but something about these enemies in particular make me feel very uncomfortable. Like, they bring back an old memory I don't want to have brought up. I have no clue why. Oh, I know. Nostalgia. But even with every weird aspect to this game, and how completely different it really was from every other Kirby game up until this point, I just adore this game. This, for me, was that game where if it were the middle of the night on a school night, and I didn't want my parents to catch me playing my DS under the sheets? No, he's such a good boy. He would never do that. Well, guess what, Mom? I would. And this was the game I would usually play underneath those sheets. You know, trying to get through the world, defeat those turnip enemies. Okay, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I know exactly where I did actually get uncomfortable by these things. Nostalgia. Heck, you want to know the true sign that this is a game that I hold near and dear to my heart? I lost this game before. Yeah, you want to know what the true sign is that you loved a game as a kid? It's whether or not you've lost it before. I have literally no clue what happened to that copy. It just literally went... Oh, whoa, the game just completely disappeared. Oh no, what happened to the game? But I remember a good while later, I finally decided it was time to upgrade from the crusty, gross, blue DS to this sleek, cool 3DS, but it's black. And I remember when I was gonna go ahead and upgrade to this handheld right here, Target was doing this deal where it was buy two, get one free on any DS and 3DS games, right? So I took advantage of that because, you know, games are expensive. I'm going to save money as a kid because guess what? I'm not getting money again for another Christmas. I don't know. But what were the 3 games that I decided to pick up with the 3DS right here? Well, I'll tell you. First, I got myself Mario Kart 7, Paper Mario Sticker Star. Unfortunately, the game is no longer with us. And finally, what was the 3rd game I ended up picking up? You guessed it. Another copy of Kirby Mass Attack! And better yet, this was the best game I got out of the 3. There are a lot of games I'm probably going to talk about today, but if I were to recommend any game now to you, the viewer, I feel like this is the game I would recommend the most. There would be another game I'd recommend more, but unfortunately, they're older Pokemon games. I love Pokemon, even more than Kirby, shockingly. And this love for Pokemon can be traced back to one Christmas long ago where me and my brother were each given one of the newest Pokemon games that have just come out. For my brother, he got Pokemon White. And for me, Pokemon Black. I'll be honest, I really have no clue what I can say about this game that people just don't already know. So instead, I'll just list off everything that you already know. You got the great region, you got the great story, you got the great characters, great and intimidating villain, great Pokemon, great lore, great towns, Berg. All these elements just wrap up into, quite honestly, one of the most comfy game experiences I have ever felt. Oh, and the soundtrack. Good lord, the soundtrack. You know what? I'm beginning to notice this pattern where I am getting really nostalgic for games, and it's usually the soundtrack that sticks out to me the most in my brain. I mean, the trend doesn't really continue moving forward, but it's a neat little thing to notice. But please, if you ever have a chance, please listen to the soundtrack for these games. Actually, listen to the soundtrack for the sequels. In fact, play the sequels. Play these games if you can't. In fact, I would recommend these games you play here right now. Moving forward. Oh god. I think it's now time to go ahead and move on from the wacky world of Nintendo to another massive part of my childhood, which is the internet. Oh shit. Okay, I'll be a bit honest with you guys. Didn't really play that many PC games as a kid. So I'm just going to go ahead and blitz through the ones I would personally claim are the most nostalgic. Starting things off, you got the OG classics, the Humongous games. Some games of note to me are Putt Putt, Freddy Fish, Pajama Sam, my personal favorite. There's also this one Blue's Clues game I remember, Blue's Clues Treasure Hunt. I looked it up for this video, and guess what? Made by Humongous Games. Humongous Games is just very, very humongous. What the fuck am I talking about? There's also Minecraft, which, well, definitely a personal favorite of mine. How nostalgic could I really claim Minecraft is if I never really stopped playing it? I mean, I guess if I were to do this, then yeah, that is extremely nostalgic to me. But out of every game I played on PC or whatever, no game could ever compare nostalgically to Webkinz. While everyone was out here playing this Club Penguin shit, ew, get that away from here. Get out. I was trying to grind to be able to grow my Webkinz collections, both in real life and in game. For those who don't know, Webkinz were these plush toys, right? But each plush toy would come with this code, and with that code, you could go ahead and add that specific character to an online world and play with them there. It was just genius. It was so genius, in fact, that me and my two older siblings completely subscribed to them. And oh boy, the amount of money we wasted on them. Honestly, I would say when it comes to Webkinz, my nostalgia for them is very much split between the games and the memories surrounding them. Like the way that these Webkinz were capable of just bringing me and my siblings together, because this was something we all liked. It wasn't like a good old older brother Johnny, he likes these Webkinz. I don't really care for them that much, but my family makes me like them because so then we can have something in common. Like, no, me and my siblings were all equally obsessed with these things, equally growing them, equally talking about them, equally playing with them. Yeah, there's a lot of memories surrounding them. Alright, enough of this girly sappiness here. I think it's time we move on to a real man's nostalgia, which is the... As I previously mentioned, I grew up in a very Nintendo house. That was basically the only consoles we ever had growing up. But my aunt and uncle, meanwhile, nah, they were an Xbox house. Sorry, PlayStation. I guess I didn't really have any childhood experiences with you. I remember I was always excited to get the chance to go to my aunt and uncle's house, mostly because that meant I got a chance to play the OG Xbox and all the games you could play on there that you couldn't get to play on the GameCube. Except I would usually just end up playing Simpsons Hit and Run, and I'm pretty certain this game was available on GameCube as well. I'll be honest, this is a game where I am mostly nostalgic for just due to the circumstances surrounding my experience with it. But that experience was something, let me tell you. Hell, I wouldn't even ever really leave the first world of this game. I would usually just spend my time exploring Springfield, crashing cars, talking to the characters, blowing up cars, driving, drowning cars. I really like destroying cars. This, for however many years, was definitely the go-to game I would play whenever I'd get to go to my aunt and uncle's house. Until one day, that is. Because one day, they decided to go ahead and upgrade to the Xbox 360. From there, I was no longer destroying cars in Springfield, but instead, I was unleashing the Force 2. Oh, shut up. This is my video. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there who really like the first game, but think the second game wasn't that great. But considering it's the only game in the series I've ever played, yeah, I loved it. Honestly speaking, I think the biggest thing for me in this game and why I liked it was mostly just because of how much better quality it was compared to what I got at home. Like, I'd go from my house where I was playing the blurry Wii on my old, 2000 jumbo CRT TV to the slick HD TV with the 360 playing the Star Wars. It was beautiful. That upgrade in quality made the experience of electrocuting stormtroopers, throwing the lightsaber, other stiff stuff, I don't know. It made all of those things significantly more satisfying to do. And I remember this one night where I was spending the night at my aunt and uncle's place. And I remember good old, how old was I then? 10? Yeah, good old 10-year-old me had the brightest idea he ever had in his brain. What if I just stayed up all night. And guess what? My aunt and uncle let me because they were cool, Mom. And so I remember that night being the night where I sat down, I played through the entirety of this game, and you know what happened at 3 a.m. or whenever it was? I finally managed to beat this. I chose the bad ending where Darth Vader decided to kill me. Trust me when I say it is a really weird feeling getting to beat this type of game at like 3 in the morning when your body is so small and young and in a situation that it isn't used to yet. Yeah, it was very, very, very weird. Now, I talked about a lot of games today where I could claim I'm very nostalgic for, but I feel like I want to round off this video with the one game where not only do I get super nostalgic for, but it's also probably my favorite video game of all time. Persona 5. Now, I only played this game for the first time about 4 years ago. Jeez, 4 years ago. Which, honestly speaking, would be a bit sudden to start being like, yeah, I'm super nostalgic for this game. It makes me feel so nostalgic whenever I think about this game, right? However, as some of you may have noticed by now, I haven't really broke down what I would consider nostalgia to be. So, you know what? I'll give you a shitty little definition I would use to describe what I think of when I think the word nostalgia. To me, nostalgia isn't just a simple, I like the game, or I played it when I was little. To me, what makes a game nostalgic is if whenever I think about the game, either I'm playing it or just sitting here looking at it, whether or not that makes me feel like I'm in a different place and time. Trust me, I'm not high right now, okay? And personally speaking, out of every game that I have mentioned today, none would remotely compare to the amount of nostalgia I get whenever I think about this game right here. I still remember the first time I played this game, right? I was in 10th grade, I was getting a PS4 for Christmas, and oh no, I needed another game to get because I only would have the bundled in Spider-Man game. I can't have that. I need to go ahead and get another game for it. Oh no. Then Smash decided to go ahead and announce that this Joker guy from this exclusive PS4 game called Persona 5 was coming to Smash, and I was like, bet. And so, the literal moment I beat Spider-Man, because that's the game I chose to play first, I took out the Spider-Man disc, put in the Persona 5 disc, and wait, what the fuck happened in the next 3 months of my life? Oh yeah. Persona 5. My literal routine for like the 3 months where I was playing this game right here was wake up, go to school, get back home, play Persona 5, go to bed. And I did that every single day for 3 months on end. And better yet, there has not been one single gaming experience since then that has ever come close to the amount of joy that the game experience I had with Persona 5. This, for me, was a time where, at least in my case, school wasn't really a problem for me. I could do good in school without having to put that much effort in, so there didn't really have anything to pay attention to when it came to school. I couldn't get a job yet, so considering I only had one responsibility, whenever I would finish it, I really could just lose myself into a game, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that's really ever gonna happen to me again. I mean, college, work. And this is why I would consider Persona 5 to not only be my personal favorite video game of all time, but probably speaking, the game I'm most nostalgic for. But the soundtrack, oh god, the soundtrack!